That's at St. John.
Looking pretty good, Michael.
Thank you.
Just for you. You know, I appreciate that. I really do. I want you to know that. All right, you ready to bring this meeting to order?
Yep.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the July 21st Ogden Valley Council of Governments meeting. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by First Selectman Mullen.
Oh, thank you for that honor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
Justice for all.
All right, sounds good. We'll go right to the roll call.
Yes, all right. From the city of Ansonia, Mayor Cassetti.
Present.
No, but we can set the laptop up right
From the
here.
town of Beacon Falls, First Selectman Smith.
Here.
Morning. From the town of Bethlehem, First Selectman Sorty.
Here.
Thank you. From the city of Bristol, Mayor Caggiano.
Here on Zoom.
Excellent. Good morning. From the town of Cheshire, Town Council Chair Slover. Okay. From the city of Derby, Mayor Zekin.
Here.
Good morning. From the town of Middlebury, First Selectman St. John.
Here.
From the borough of Naugatuck, Mayor Hess.
Here.
Good morning. From the town of Oxford, First Selectman Temple. From the town of Plymouth, Mayor Kilduff. From the town of Prospect, Mayor Chatfield.
Here with no donuts.
Good morning. From the town of Seymour, First Selectwoman Dragonis. Or I believe we have Sheila.
Here. Here,
Good morning.
I'm here for Seymour.
Yeah, we can hear you. It works.
Good morning.
Okay,
From
well,
Mayor Loretti.
We'll be calling in.
Great. From the town of Southbury, First Selectman Manville. Is that in my line?
Is there? He's there.
From the town of Thomaston, First Selectman Munn.
Physically here.
Good morning.
Mentally,
Well, that's another question.
I know that feeling.
From the city of Waterbury, Mayor O'Leary.
Here,
From the town of Watertown, Town Chair Ramsey. Or Town Manager Raymo. Okay. From the town of Wolcott, Mayor Dunn.
Here.
Morning. And from the town of Woodbury, First Selectwoman Perkinson. Who I believe we have on.
She is here.
Okay, you do have a quorum for both bodies.
all right, excellent, thank you. Next, we go to public comment. Anyone here from the public who wishes to address the board? Anyone here from the public? Yay. Item agenda 2, CNVMPO meeting. Approval of the resolution 2023-21, project numbers 0174-2470, rehab of bridges in Thomaston.
Move.
Don't move, Prospect. Second done.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, well, I got a little ahead of myself. Also, that we'll do another vote because it's water phase 2 Waterbury. And the safety and accessibility deployment. So can we just do another motion just to make
Don't move,
sure?
Prospect.
Second
done.
and discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Beautiful. Abstain? No one. Item agenda 3, NVCOG administrative item.
I'm on a roll. So move, Prospect.
Okay. You got a tea time? Second,
Second, Edmond.
discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have such a great cog, everybody's on the same page. NVCOG, planning transportation, item agenda 4A, approval of the COG resolution 2024-01, lot zip, Seymour, Pearl Street, new project. Motion?
Moved. Edmond.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Item agenda 4B, approval of NVCOG resolution 2024-02, lots at Bristol, Divinity Street, Colbert.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Can we just confirm who made the motion? Caggiano. That's it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. The mayor of Bristol, of course.
Yeah, well, I just want to make sure.
I had to jump in on that. It's loud here too. I apologize, but I didn't want to miss that.
Congratulations, Mayor Caggiano. Item agenda 4D, approval of NVCOG resolution 2024-04, lots at Bensonia State Street.
I'm sorry,
You
I
missed
skipped over
the,
24 3.
Oh,
another
You can go
Bristol,
back.
another Bristol.
okay. Oh, that's what it was, 2 in a row for Bristol.
Bristol.
Mayor Caggiano's on a roll, huh? All right, I'll go back to 4C, approval of NVCOG resolution 2024-03, lots at Bristol Shrub Road sidewalks.
Great, Jeff.
Caggiano.
And I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, thank you. Item agenda 4D. NVCOG resolution 20-04, Ansonia Street. Or excuse me, Ansonia State Street. Sheila?
I'll make
Motion.
a motion.
Good enough. I'll second.
Discussion? All right,
Whoever.
all those in favor say aye.
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 So I was through Bethlehem last week. For a retirement party for someone, and Steve Sorty, I was so impressed with it. I hadn't noticed, but the sidewalk project came out beautiful there. So Bristol, you got a lot to compete with. All right.
Thank you.
Next we have, I want to introduce you all to a woman named Nita Asani. Nita is, you may remember I mentioned to you all that I hired Anita to come on board to work with me on the opioid settlement advisory committee, and she's been with us. How long, Anita?
I've been here 6 months now,
Since when?
since February,
February. So that's about what?
6 months.
6 months. Okay. Anyways, you know, there's been a lot going on with the opioid settlement advisory committee, but it's a brand new committee. And I co-chair it, and representing the cities and towns, which I think is a good thing for all of us to stay in the loop. And then the commissioner of Demas, Nancy Navarrete, co-chairs it, and she of course represents all state agencies. So we've had several meetings, and I have to tell you, they've been really good and positive. Some brilliant people on this advisory committee, which is great. And there's a lot of boots on the ground people, which we love. So it's very, you know, it's a typical beginning stages of any committee. There's a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of rules that need to be established and bylaws. And we've gotten through all that bureaucracy, I think, and we just wanted to put it on your radar that, you know, right now there's a gal named Katie Ramos, who's kind of taken the lead for Commissioner Navarrete. She's an employee at Demas, and Commissioner Navarrete's chief of staff is a guy named Chris McClure, who many of you, when you see him, you may recognize him because he worked in the office of Governor Malloy, and he's a very good guy. He gets things done. Anyway, long and short, we're gonna, you know, bring it to your attention today with Nita here, just to introduce you to her. There is, we're gonna have either Lauren or Patricia download all the material that Nita has, and we're gonna send it out to you. But it's basically a guideline of what you can use your opioid funding for. It's very broad, you guys. You can use your opioid funding. Well, you can't use it for sidewalks. But you can use it, honestly, you really can use it for a lot of important, I think, important things. And I know that our COG is so diverse, from the tiny towns to the, you know, to cities like Waterbury, but and everything in between. And, you know, I've said this before, you know, I was asked to get all 169 cities and towns on board for the settlement, you know, when we started these, and we led the initiative on filing the first lawsuit against Big Pharma. Anyways, it's been a success. We have all 169 cities and towns on board, and some obviously have a more significant issue than others. But there is no city and town in Connecticut that doesn't have someone who's been impacted somehow by opioids. And that was a little bit of a challenge in the beginning, honestly, because, you know, a lot of the smaller communities were like, well, you know, we may have isolated incidents, but, you know, we don't really want to join in because we, you know, don't want to be told what to do with the money. And I said, listen, you're not going to be told that you're going to get a broader framework. And then, you know, everybody's, and rightfully so, you know, very doubting. And I think like an hour before the deadline, we got the last community to sign up. So because we have 169 cities and towns in the whole state of Connecticut, we're the only state in the country that has all of our communities signed up. So that's a big deal. But why it's a big deal mostly is because we get the maximum amount of the award. So if you only have like a percentage, even like 80% of your towns, the maximum amount goes down like 25%. And then, you know, a city the size of Waterbury, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So I feel like we've brought the money back as much as we can. Now, our communities like Bethlehem and Prospect and maybe Thomaston, you know, you're going to get some money, you have gotten some money. Is that going to be significant enough to do some of the things you want to do? I don't know. It depends. But what we're trying to do, at least for this COG, because I really could tell you that I'm really proud of all of you, because we have a COG that really works together closely, and we actually, I think for the most part, at least, like each other. And we can do some really good things. And that can include taking a regional approach to some of these matters. But to me, I think the most important thing is the prevention side of this. I mean, obviously the abatement and treatment is very important, but if we can develop some sort of curriculum for our parents and students on teaching them the dangers of opioids, and now, of course, fentanyl, I think we could prevent some of these temptations that are out there for these folks. If they know, if you start messing with this stuff, A, you're going to become addicted in a matter of days, and B, you're going to die if you keep playing around with it, because we don't control. At least when we had the prescription drug abuse, opioid abuse, you knew how much was in every pill. When you buy fentanyl on the street, you don't know if you're getting the stopped down version or if you're getting straight fentanyl. If you're getting straight fentanyl, you're not going to wake up. So I think that we need to work together to develop a curriculum, and the folks over at the Demas agree, and Katie Ramos and team are working.
Joe, I just,
Ed St. John, do you want to chime in, or did you do that?
no, I'm taking it all in, Mayor.
Okay.
No, I don't have anything to offer, other than to say it's a problem that's not going away.
For sure. Thank you. Anyway, so a little heads up. We're going to be putting out surveys to every community to see what they feel would address some of their needs. And maybe a lot of communities will say, be honest, I don't know, but I'm really want to learn and listen. That's a good thing. Other communities may have some ideas what would be significant in their community. But what we'd like to do is pass that survey through to your Board of Education and your educational leaders in your towns and put it out to the appropriate people, maybe
Get
it's
in
school
this
administrators, teachers, and maybe it's parents, maybe it's a lot of people. And, you know, I think that we can learn from this. So that was the whole idea for putting it on the agenda today, just to give you an update. And if there's anybody out there that hasn't received any of their opioid settlement money, then you need to get a hold of us, and you can get a hold of Nita, and Nita will follow up with the Attorney General's office to see why that is, but everyone should have gotten something by now. So for Waterbury, I mean, we've gotten like 700,000 already. And we're not really using it towards anything until we come up with a plan that we think is definitive. But understand that Waterbury has a lot of resources that your individual towns don't have. We have here in the city, and a lot of your residents, believe it or not, come to our city daily for different medications. And I think it would be important for you guys to, I mean, we're more than happy to do more of a regionalization approach and show you some of our programs that are working. And by the way, it's a tough challenge because, you know, people who are addicted to opioids don't want to be, but it's really hard to get off them. So we're forming relationships with treatment centers and trying to figure out what programs work best. We're also exploring, you know, a lot of you are familiar with methadone programs and Suboxone programs and other alternative medications. There is a lot more out there than there was just 2 years ago and 5 years ago, and a whole lot more than that was out there 10 years ago. So, you know, look, we have sadly, we have the dubious distinction of always having, you know, Waterbury is always in the top 1, 2, or 3 of overdose deaths. But most recently, the last 2 years, we're also in the top 2 or 3 of having the most Narcan saves, which is really good. So basically, you know, people come to where the supply is, right? So people from the region come into Waterbury because there's a supply issue here. Availability is what I mean. And so then what happens is they buy what they need and they go to a parking lot or a restroom, or they go somewhere and they ingest the heroin or fentanyl, and maybe they don't make it. So we find them in their car, on the bathroom floor of McDonald's or Home Depot, or, you know, it is what it is. But the good news is no one's looking the other way anymore, making believe it doesn't exist, and that's really important. And no one is really, I don't think, stigmatizing people. In some towns, and I shouldn't say towns, in some people's minds, there's a stigma, you know, unfortunately attached. Like, well, if they're, you know, if they want to use that stuff and kill themselves, well, you know, what do you want me to do about it? But sadly, if you really know about this issue, you know, when half of the people who are addicted to opioids started it on legal prescribing from their providers, you know, you need to pay attention to that, you know, and so this is a bigger issue. And I'd say John was right. It is not going away. Look, we are right now, we're trending down. We usually have about 100 deaths a year. We're trending down as much as 30% right now in that area. But believe me when I tell you, one bad batch will bring that number right back. So, you know, just last week we had 2 DOAs in a day, the same stamp on the product. So it can happen quick. So anyways, I put it on your radar.
Question.
Important. I think that you can all take advantage of this. I think it's really critical for all of you to at least get it out there to your constituents, particularly your constituents who have family members or themselves who are struggling. And I would strongly recommend, after we put the surveys out, like immediately thereafter, don't have to do it, but it's a recommendation, is to hold your own town hall meeting in your town if you care to, and get input from your people. And then, of course, have your people from education there. And let's work together and find age-appropriate curriculum to try to teach our children in the schools at the tenderest age that the experts think is good. You know, right now it's like 5th grade, but I honestly think it could be maybe 4th grade. In Waterbury, it could be 3rd grade for what they see at home. But, you know, I'm just, it's so important. You know, I wanted to take the time to talk to all of you about it. Please look at the surveys. Please get it out to your people. This is a work in progress. So like every survey, right? It might ask some right questions and maybe not all the ones that you think are pertinent. If you think that things need to be added to the survey, let us know. Nina's the point person on all of this. Send directly to her and she'll get your contact information out through Lauren and Patricia. But you know, the truth is, it's really something I think that you could, in the tiniest community to the largest, you could really show your people you care. And that's a lot of these folks are so beat up by this and families are so negatively impacted by this. I think that you could really show them, look, we're gonna try to help you in every way we can. And
Ask a
it's
question.
Yes, please.
Could we do both? I like the regional approach, but Beacon and I have had some unofficial discussions because of our regional school district. And if we do a regional approach, it could be broken down more so that towns that are in regional school districts could work along with your organization. Would that be a possibility? If
we would-
should wait till after the surveys?
Mayor, we would welcome that. And I think if, after you all do whatever you do or don't do, I think what Waterbury is gonna do is host, like maybe at the Palace, like a regional town hall meeting, including all of our COG members, communities, for anybody who wants to show up, parents, families, whomever. And I think we'll do that in the fall. And we'll say, look, you know, we've got millions of dollars here and there's millions more coming. You know, let's do something meaningful. Now, I don't want to be negative or critical, but millions and millions of dollars came through the tobacco settlement and really little or nothing got done. This is an opportunity where we can learn from what didn't happen and what we can use the money for what could happen. And, you know, I just think it's an opportunity, and why should we pass it up?
So Mayor, just for coordination, so I've already tasked Drew Blackwood with doing the coordination between the towns through your group. Whatever comes in from NEDA, whatever coordination any of you are doing with your school districts or your health districts. Drew's gonna be responsible for getting all that information out to everyone. Obviously, our administrative offices will, you know, handle getting the paperwork and getting it out. But Drew will go out on the road. He'll attend any of your regional meetings and make sure that everybody's coordinating message.
Yeah, that's great. And lastly, for those of you who read the Hartford Current, there's a really good article in the Current, coincidentally this morning, that really researches and goes back to how all of these, how at least 50% of these opioid addicted people got hooked on opioids by legal prescriptions, right? Knee replacements, any surgeries, wisdom teeth extractions. You know, I've told you guys, I'm gonna repeat myself because we're way ahead of schedule, and I told you it wouldn't be 15 minutes, right?
I knew better.
Look, my own kid, I didn't, and I'm lucky, I don't have, in my immediate family, I don't have anybody with an opioid problem, but I have a big family, and in my extended family, I do. But my own kid gets hurt playing basketball, has a tendon, one day outpatient surgery. I come home after work and there's a thing of Oxycontin, right? On the 30 of them in a container for a one-day outpatient surgery. And by the way, I only know a little bit more about this than the average bear because I worked narcotics for so long, but I said to him, are you kidding me? He said, Dad, I just filled the prescription. I said, did you take any yet? He said, no. I said, that's good, you do not. The same kid, a year later, goes and gets all 4 wisdom teeth extracted. I come back and he says, I didn't fill it, but look on the counter, there's a prescription for 30 Percocet. Like doctors, when we've had town hall meetings in Waterbury, I had 2 doctors, one of them in tears. I mean, in tears, literally in tears, when we talked about the number of people. This is in the early stages of opioid. You know, in tears saying, you know, they never taught us this. They never told us how addictive these drugs are. I went to school all these years and my parents mortgaged everything they had to send me there, and I'm killing people. I mean, the guy put it bluntly, and I said, that's the problem. That was like 7 or 8 years ago. It was fine, you know, when I was relatively new in office, and the guy was devastated. And, you know,
Hey, Mayor, can I interrupt?
Yeah,
Yeah, I wanted to put two cents in on this initiative, because I think that the more public that we can be about it, the better off it is. And I would try to engage a lot of these nonprofits who are who supply social services, because their network is not singular to a specific location, but it's very regional. And you know, look, I guess we all understand that this is an issue that is going to be around for a while. So the public campaign, I think, is the most important initiative that we can undertake.
thanks, Mark, and we agree with you, and so does the co-chair Commissioner Navarrete, and the state of Connecticut through their resources are developing. They already have had some campaigns, whether it's you know, TV and radio, social media, even billboards on the highway. But there's a whole campaign of marketing and branding being developed now. So it's a great point, and stay tuned. I don't know what the timeline is, but at the very next COG meeting, we're going to invite Katie Ramos and Chris McClure to be with us, and they can fill you in. And I think that you all can ask any questions you want of them, and they can give you more specific information. They'll have those timelines by then. Of course, this will be after Labor Day, because it's so sensitive trying to get everybody in a room before then. Okay. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
I'll simply state, you know, town like Thomaston and a lot of the other small communities, we do not have great resources from all of this, where hundreds of thousands of dollars flow into Waterbury, just about 5. So smaller towns are probably getting tens of thousands at the end of the day. So for us, it's always been a thought, at least in my mind, that we would do something collaboratively. What that specifically is, I'm uncertain of at this point. I could think of several things, but again, I'm not going to go there at this point.
Yeah.
But some sort of collaboration, I think, is certainly in the best interest of the community of Thompson.
And know that we're all on board. Honestly, as the largest city in the COG, we are more than willing and will commit to every community in the COG. And as I said, I think that the prevention piece and the curriculum is extraordinarily important. But then there's other phases that we're very much aware of, like Narcan availability and, you know, getting in the homes of these with the parents and the, you know, getting the message out that if you have a kid or you yourself or sibling has opioid addiction, we'll have some resources available to them. Almost a hotline that they can get the help. In Waterbury, we do this warm handoff program. It's expensive. It's a pilot program. We got $1 million grant out of the Washington DC to do it. So we actually have opioid response technician who responds to the location of the overdose. As the fire department's pulling up, so is the technician, as a Narcan is being administered. And then we reach out to the siblings, the husbands, the wives, the kids, the parents, and say, listen, we want to save your kid. But you can see right now, if we weren't here with this Narcan, your kid wouldn't be around tomorrow. You know, I mean, I hate to say it so bluntly, but you have to be. Because many of these overdose people are multiple overdoses. They've overdosed today, they might overdose tomorrow, right? I mean, they're that sick. They really are. And it's been impactful. Our batting average isn't great as far as saves. In other words, we're probably getting maybe 1 out of 5 people clean and sober for a year. It's not a very good batting average, but it's better than none. And once you get them clean and sober, every day they stay clean and sober, they get stronger.
Yeah.
So it's, and those are the people that are most impactful to talk to y'all in a room, especially if you have people in your household who suffer from this issue.
And it will be an endless challenge for them for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely. And then people are good for, it's like alcohol. People are good for a long time and then suddenly who knows what triggers it and they go back. But then the good news is those people usually recover quicker and better because they know what it's like to be clean and sober, so they want to go back to that. So it's a son of a gun. It really
It
is.
is, it is.
And so that's it. I won't take up any more of your time on it, but I think it's something really exciting that every single town should really start thinking about how you can work with this, even your tiny communities and, you know, of course, the cities we're overwhelmed with it, honestly, but. You know, we can learn from the smaller communities because the people who are, half the people that are coming in Waterbury are from your towns, they really are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, your towns are usually a little bit more wealthier than the urban child who doesn't have access to the money that it takes to support that habit, right? So, okay. All right, that's
Thank
enough
you.
of that. All right,
Thank
so
you.
stay tuned on that.
Thank you.
Item agenda 6, other. Anybody have anything else for this group before we break for this? Break for the day on this partly sunny Friday? All right, good. Well,
Make
I
a
hope
motion
y'all-
adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Good weekend, everybody.
Aye.
Enjoy. Both of us.
We're good.
And this is a topic that's